Ricky's our next speaker. Now, Ricky told me that he wanted to tell everyone that there's a better talk in the other room. Yeah. So if everyone can just get up and leave and go to the other room, I think that'll make Ricky happy. No. This is a very good talk. All about using page builders. So give Ricky a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Yep, cool. Okay. Welcome everybody to WordCamp Sydney. Is everybody feeling awesome this morning? Yeah. How many people are here for the first time for a WordCamp? Hands up. Oh, geez. Awesome. And just to give me an idea of the tone, I'm going to say to you, how many people actually use page builders? Okay, so this might not be so exciting for you guys. But let's go through it. Hopefully I'll teach you something new. Okay, let's see if this works. Maybe, there we go. Here we go. So a little bit about me. That's me in my usual WordCamp attire. Hopefully I won't subject you to that tonight. I live in Brisbane. Anybody here from Brisbane? Woohoo! I do web design. I did for a long time using WordPress, like most of us here, hopefully. There's no Joomla people here sneaking in. Whoop. And I work for WP Engine. That's the little logo here. So about a year ago, almost to the day, I got accepted to work for WP Engine, went to the dark side, and now work with servers and data and boring stuff, which is, but it pays the bills. And if you want to come and get some swag, we're out there in the hall. Okay, so for those of you who want to find out what's going on and maybe sneak over to the better talk next door, I'm going to talk about a quick history of page builders, how I use page builders, which is usually very badly, different ways to use page builders, some hints and tips that I've got over the years to make it work a little bit better, and my vision of the future, which is really probably something weird, but we'll see how it goes. First off, I'm just going to do a disclaimer. I am not a page builder expert. I use it in my own way. I'm not like a super user. I'm not affiliated with any of the page builders I'm going to show you today in any shape or form. They're just the ones that I use. And I was mostly drunk when I wrote this talk, so I'm just going to put that out there, that it might not be that good. Anyway, let's get on with it. So a little bit of history of page builders. This was really interesting. I started doing some research when I started writing this talk last night. And I was really surprised at how far I went back. Oh, geez, this button's not working real good. Let's go back a bit. Memories, there we go. Does everybody remember this? Yeah. When I started researching page builders, I was doing, reading some blogs and some articles, and it took me back to a time when this thing was doing the rounds and everybody had to have it on their website. There we go. And websites look like that. Does everybody remember those ones? Yeah. Strangely enough, when I looked up these really bad-looking websites, this one's actually still in existence. I found it on a website called 10 Websites You Won't Believe Are Still Live. So if you want to check it out and just, see how it runs, yeah. So back in the day, I started out with a program called Fusion 8. Back in about 2004, I used to get computer magazines with the discs on it. Everybody remember those? And one of the discs came with a program called Fusion 8, which they'd gone to Fusion 9 and were giving away last year's edition of the software. So that was the start of my web design journey. So I loaded this up and started playing with it. And it was using a WYSIWYG, which you could sort of drag and drop all your images and menus and make a web page out of it. Does everybody remember that? Does anybody ever use one of those? Maybe front page or something? Yeah, Dreamweaver. So that was my first introduction to making websites, and what I found out was they actually should be called that, which is what you see is not always what you get. Because I would drag things around, put it on the screen, and it really, once it went live, it really didn't look, something was usually buggy, or you couldn't get something to move exactly where you wanted it to. So I kind of got disillusioned with that whole system. And that's when I decided to learn HTML and CSS and build websites the right way. And from that point forward, I was using Notepad and just coding and making websites that system. So that was good. And then I found WordPress, which just took me to the next level, because then all of a sudden I could make fancy logins and all these amazing things that I didn't know how to code, but still using HTML and CSS to make things look awesome. And then one day I got a theme that had a page builder in it. It let me drag things around and make the page a little bit different, but it wasn't that good. And as you can see from there, you couldn't really get an idea of what was going on the page until you previewed it. So it wasn't much better than the text editor. It just allowed you to place blocks in and do some funky stuff. So I used that for a little while because it was included with the theme, which there was a lot of themes coming out that time with all these page builders. And yeah, kind of did all right. But then things went a bit more forward. I'm now using Beaver Builder, amongst other things. Page builders really sort of started accelerating. A lot of them came out of the woodwork. There were some really good ones that came out. Beaver Builder was just one of the ones that I got recommended and started using. I found it really easy and really helpful. One thing though was that I was very conscious that a lot of developers kind of shunned page builders. So it was kind of like I didn't tell anyone I was using a page builder. It was my dirty little secret, and I was kind of ashamed that I was using it for a while. And then suddenly, more people started using them. I think I'm going to give up on this. This is not working real good. So this is going to do a little quick GIF, maybe, of how a page builder works. Now, one of the best things that I found with these page builders was that they came with some pre-made templates. So I could scroll through the templates, pick one that I liked, and in a couple of seconds I had a fully functioning website. Of course, that's not exactly what you want for your website. You want different images and text and all sorts of things, but it was a good starting point. So you can see from there, within a couple of seconds, I've got a full website with cheese and everything, with fancy little widgets and footers and all that kind of stuff, just like that. So I thought, man, this is awesome. Does anybody use one of these where you can just make a web, like an entire page like that in a few seconds? But what I found was it was good. Like I actually had a client once who rang me up and he said, I want a website by tomorrow. Like it was just an urgent thing. He didn't really care what it looked like. He just needed 5 pages and some information on it so that he could do a government tender or something like that. And I managed to knock it up in less than 8 hours through a heavy storm with a blackout and while doing other jobs. And then the next day I asked him how it went, and he said, I haven't even looked at it. So yeah, so that was really exciting. But I found it really good. Once you make one of those templates, once you load one of those up, you can easily switch in all the stuff that you want, different images, different text. You can take parts out, add parts. And then when you get something you really like, you can actually template it out and save it, and then you can reuse it. So very good for speeding up your workflows. For those who haven't used much of page builders, they're very easy. So I'm just going to quickly add a countdown timer here. And these are things that I couldn't code on my own. I don't profess to be an amazing coder. But you can drop, just like using plugins, you can drop this into a page. I'm just adding a date, which just happens to be today's date, maybe, yesterday's date. And it'll start a timer. Very easy. Once you've done that, there's a lot of other options you can do too. What I found was, along web pages, you might reuse a certain part. So one of the options in there is to actually make it a global option. So for the little blocks, you can save these blocks and reuse them. So you kind of customize them, save them, and you've got the option of making it a global or non-global kind of entity. So right here, I'm just saving this little countdown timer with that time on it. And in here, it's saying global. So with a global one, if you're going to be reusing it across the site on different pages, making it global means you don't have to go into each individual page and update. You can make that little snippet, put it across multiple pages, and when you make an update, you update one, and it updates all of them. So it's one of those things you need to make a decision. Do I want to make this a global snippet, or do I want to make it just a once-off? But I found that very handy, especially when you had little bits of snippets across pages everywhere. One thing I found with Beaver Builder, and there's a couple others that do this as well, they've got a lot of add-ons. So I got the ultimate add-ons for Beaver Builder, which gave me a whole heap of more functionality on top of what Beaver Builder already gave me. And there's a whole heap of other ones out there. That CB custom modules, if you are using Beaver Builder, it's a free module. It adds a bit of funky stuff in. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. And one of the things I really love was these before and after photo sliders. They're really fun to work with. That's just one of the extra add-ons, but it just means you're not locked into this one thing. It can be added onto, which is really good. The other thing you can get with these is, for example, Beaver Builder. There's another part of it where you can actually use the page builder functions on the header and the footer and the sidebar. So you can effectively use the page builder on your theme, which is something that a lot of people don't consider. So you can take the header there, and you can put in a logo, different place. You can put in a slider. You can put in a countdown timer in your header. Same for your footer. You can do some really funky customizations on that as well. And another thing I found out was we can use it to customize WooCommerce as well. And that was something I didn't realize you could do. I thought it was just going to work in the pages, but then I found that somebody's made an add-on that allows you to change how Woo looks, your product pages. You can make custom product pages, and that saves you having to get in and recode the PHP files. So there's a lot of options. And I've been talking a lot about Beaver Builder, but Elementor is another one that's getting a lot of attention at the moment, and I've played around with that. It's another really good page builder. With a lot of these, you can get a free trial version, or a light version of them. So it's not going to cost you anything. You can get in and play with them, have a bit of fun. Not sure if this is going to do something. Here we go. So with Elementor, it's very much the same as Beaver Builder. You got some functionality down the side, what they call modules. You can click on a module, and it will basically add some funky stuff onto your page. So right here, I'm putting in a skill level kind of skill bar. I'm going to show you how much of my awesome ability I've got on web design, which apparently is very little. There we go, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. There it goes. And then we can turn it green. this is really just scraping the surface of what these page builders can do. And for anybody who's used one, they obviously know that, you know, look, there's a lot of stuff that you can make it do and just make your pages that much better. The main question is, who is this suited for? Like I was saying, back in the early days, a lot of developers were kind of scoffing at the idea of page builders because they wanted to do everything themselves, and a lot of them were very bloated, slowed sites down, and weren't that much better than what they could code themselves. So generally, in the beginning, it was just suited for people new to WordPress, bloggers, small businesses who didn't have that coding ability, who were a bit lost even in the text editor to make the pages look really awesome. But lately I've seen a bit of a trend. Freelancers and agencies are using page builders a lot now too, because it does speed up the processes, speeds up the workflow, and lowers the price point of what they're developing. And I've also seen big enterprise customers using, you know, large companies, enterprise customers, using page builders in their websites as well. Even though they've probably got a big team of developers sitting on their staff, page builders are actually making it a lot easier for them. So I'm just going to run through a few case studies of why people would use it and how it would help them. First use case would be no coding ability. So your bloggers and new business people. Some people kind of struggle with the text editor, trying to get images to align and get things to look good. This is me trying to make a page look good, not very good there. So by using that templating system that I showed you earlier, we can build out the entire page very quickly and easily. So for somebody who's got a restaurant or a plumbing business, something like this can build out the entire site. They just have to swap in their images, swap in their text, and away they go. So for bloggers, small business, really good and easy to use. For freelance agencies, that templating method, you can template out all kinds of different sites and start a project very quickly and easily. So it speeds up the process time. A lot of these templates can be custom made. They can be swapped out between different sites. You can kind of keep a library of them. It's also good for mock-ups, wireframing. I used to use it a lot to quickly build out a site that give a customer an idea of what the site's going to look like, even if I wasn't going to use the page builder. So you could kind of do that whole wireframing thing, but also make it interactive so they could click around it and use it. So even agencies can use page builders. They just probably won't tell anyone. This is the one that really got me interested. This is actually the WP Engine company site, and they actually use Beaver Builder. Now, when I heard that, I was very surprised because I know we've got a team of really good developers on staff that could build a website out from scratch and make it look awesome. So I was really interested to find out why our team decided to use Beaver Builder, which I thought was just a basic plugin that anyone would use to build out a whole corporate site. The reasoning behind it was that the marketing team do a lot of the page building. And what they've managed to do is they've worked with the marketing team to build out certain sections and get that uniformity. And they save all of those little snippets in the library. So if somebody needs to build a new page out, they can pull in all the different parts that they need very quickly and easily without having to go to the coders and start from scratch. And it's always uniform. So if they need a little section that's going to show off our personnel, or this little section here, it's just there. They drag it in, it's done. So it speeds up the development time. And they need to, every now and then, they have to create a page very quickly. So it just works very well. Okay, we're going to have a little intermission. It's sort of getting a bit boring, so I thought I'd throw this in. So my little intermission, I'm going to tell you about my cat. That's my cat called Fluff. His hobbies include sleeping, eating, and annoying me when I'm trying to work. Usually getting between me and the keyboard and stopping me from doing anything I need to do, like writing this talk. That's it. We're going to go on. Okay, so how to get the best out of your page builders. First thing you've got to do is find one that suits you. Don't just take somebody's word for it and use that. Try them all. There's a lot of them, like Beaver Builder, Elementor, and a lot of the other ones out there have got a light version that you can download for free. So test it out. See how it goes. See if it works for you. Make sure it's lightweight. There's some that are very bulky, add a lot of short codes, and they're not very good. And be careful of the ones that add short codes, because if you take it away, it doesn't work. Things like Beaver Builder, you can actually take the plugin away and it will still kind of work, even without the plugin, because it just adds the code to the page. One thing I found really useful is, as you can see, there's a lot of things on there, and a lot of them you look at and you're not really sure what they do. So I made like a demo page, catalog, if you will, of all the functionality. So I just kept dropping the blocks in, and the idea was that I could go through that page and test all of them out and know what they did. So it kind of refreshes your memory about all the modules, so you can better build another page out of it. Because yeah, some of them have got so many, and you look at it and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know what that does, so you've got to like drag it in and play with it. So building out just a test page on a test server, if you can do that, or just make a dummy page on one of your sites so you can just go through and refresh your memory on everything that's there. Saving your rows and templates for later use. A lot of people will just drag them in and sort of forget about it, and then later on, maybe 2 months later, they'll think, oh, geez, I want to recreate that. If you save all these things and then back them up, it works a lot better. One thing I found out that a lot of people don't know is you can actually use multiple page builders throughout your site. You don't have to stick to one, but you can only use one page builder per page. So you can't use 2 page builders on a single page, but you can actually use, for example, Elementor and Beaver Builder in the same website, and possibly even Gutenberg. So that's the best way to use your page builders. Okay. So the future of page builders. Now this is just me kind of spitballing where it's going to go, but we can kind of see where it's heading. Love that image. Okay, just give you a couple more seconds for that. There we go. This one's for Hannah. So I can see page builders being an all-encompassing thing. We can see that they're already creeping into the theme area, WooCommerce. Basically, your page builder is going to be a one-for-all. You'll be able to load one thing, change your theme, change your page, change everything from this one product. It may even make themes kind of obsolete. You'll just have like a basic blank theme and you kind of build it yourself, which is something we haven't had yet. Basically, most people have to either build the theme from scratch or get a theme that you're either happy using or it kind of mimics what you want to do. So being able to like just start with a blank canvas and drag everything in exactly how you like it, I think that's going to be a game changer. And sort of building on what Luke just had a big talk about, Gutenberg. One of the things is it's getting very blurry about whether Gutenberg is actually a page builder or it's not. And I think a lot of people have got different opinions on that. It kind of works like a page builder. You can drag things in and build out a page very quickly, just the same as I did with the Beaver Builder. So, where's it going to go? I mean, ultimately the goal is for Gutenberg to really be a page builder. Will that make Beaver Builder and Elementor and all these other ones obsolete? Maybe. If it's already in WordPress, why would you buy something else or, need to install something else? So, yeah, I can see that being a very big possibility. And I'm also very interested to see, at the moment I've tested it out, Gutenberg won't work inside a page builder. But at the moment it's a plugin as far as Gutenberg. Going forward, there's a big chance that Gutenberg may actually work inside your page builder. Because one of the things you drag in, a lot of the things you drag in will just be the text edit box when you're typing out text. So if Gutenberg is replacing that, and the theme builders, the Beaver Builders and the Elementors work with WordPress in the right way, there's a good chance that you could drag Gutenberg inside the page builder and have both at once. Don't know how that's going to work, but it could be very interesting. So I feel that's kind of where it might be going. So just going to wrap this up quickly. Page builders. They can help peeps create amazing pages. It's helped me do some really amazing work without doing much work at all. Speeds up processes, speeds up development time, can help large companies create new pages in pre-approved and uniform blocks very quickly and easily and very cheaply. And they're fun to play with. You can do some really funky things. One of the things is you can actually do like kind of weird shapes between your dividing blocks, which is really fun, and you can do some like sticking images in between blocks of that really sort of bring the website up and just takes it to the next level, and all without knowing much code at all. So that's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.
That was great, Ricky. Well done, well done. So we've got about 15 minutes for questions. So Zach will throw a microphone out to people. Kath at the back.
Okay, so you said, which one do I like best? While we get the microphone fixed. So that's a really hard question. I have been using Beaver Builder for about 2 years now. After basically I did the WP Elevation course, and Troy Dean recommended it, and I thought, I'll give it a go, and he was right. It was a really good system. Used it for quite a while, but then I've just been hearing a lot of talk about Elementor, so I've just installed Elementor in the last couple of weeks and been playing with that, and it's really good as well. So it's really hard to choose. And like I said, you don't have to be locked down to one. You can actually use 5 different page builders on one site. So you could kind of mix it up and just use the one that works best for that page. If one's got a feature that the other one hasn't, you need it on that page, we'll just use that page builder. Unfortunately, like I said, you can't swap them 2 on one page, but you know, you can't have it all.
We'll just get the microphone to you.
May I ask, where is the web address of the Elementor?
Elementor?
Yeah,
That's
web address. How can you easily find them?
Okay, it should be just elementor.com.
Could you show on the screen?
Let's have a look. Let's have a good. That's a good question. I believe it should just be
Elementor. Web address.
Elementor.com. There we go.
Oh, elementor.com?
Yep.
No need .au?
Not .au. No, it's a
Oh, okay.
probably made in America. I'm not sure.
Second question, sir. Except the Elementor and the Beaver page builder, do you have any others free builders for paging?
I believe there are some more free ones. I don't know what they are. The 2 I've tried are Beaver Builder and Elementor. There's bound to be quite a few more out there. I really don't know. I know there's a lot of themes that incorporate a page builder with them, and they sort of come free with the theme. Other than that, I'm not really sure.
Okay. Until now, have the Elementor and the Beaver Builder
Yeah.
and Kuben back builder? Only 3. That's all.
Oh, there's a lot of
Okay.
yeah, a lot of them out there.
Do you have any other free? No
Yeah.
money.
There we go, Site Origin.
Site origin? How to spell? Site origin?
But
Oh, L-O-R-G-I. Thank
Prob-
you. Thank you.
no worries. Probably the best idea, and the way I do it, is just Google free page builders for WordPress. And that should return a few results. No problems at all. You can also go into the WordPress repository and search in there, and you'll find everything that's been approved by the WordPress.
Hey, Ricky.
Hey,
You touched on Gutenberg, which was great. What would you say to someone who was comparing Gutenberg to a page builder? Why would they use Gutenberg over a page builder, or why would they use a page builder over Gutenberg?
that's a really good question. The main reason I would say, at the moment, page builders are definitely add more value. There's a lot more you can do with a page builder. I know Luke gave an amazing demo of Gutenberg, and I'll tell you what, I'm really excited about Gutenberg. I think it's going to be a real big game changer, but it's still limited in what it can do in certain respects. There's a lot more funky stuff you can do with page builders. But like I said, there's a good chance that once Gutenberg goes live, you could use both. You could use the page builder and have Gutenberg inside. Not going to say that's an absolute fact, but hey, you never know. I know Beaver Builder, Elementor, all those guys are working really hard with WordPress and Gutenberg to make sure they are compatible. It is a big thing that, you know, it's going to be a big part of WordPress going forward. It's no use, these companies just can't put their head in the sand and go, oh, we'll just make a plugin or wipe it out, because people are going to want to use it. And it should work inside a page builder, because it is just not much different than the text editor. It's the text editor is just putting in that space there, so Gutenberg should work. But I think Gutenberg's in its infancy now. It's got some amazing features, and it's only going to get better. So there could come a day where that Gutenberg is going to sort of far surpass the page builders. But at the moment, I think the page builders have just got that edge on certain things that they can do, and the fact that there's just that all those add-ons and extra functionality to it. But yeah, that's slowly that margin's kind of closing. And I think once Gutenberg goes live, and I'm pretty sure Luke touched on this, that there's going to be a whole heap of people do like third-party options for Gutenberg, very much the same as the page builders, and there's probably going to be more, more of that out there. And yeah, it could actually spell the end of page builders in some way, shape, or form.
Very good question, and don't forget to bring that up tomorrow at the Gutenberg panel as well. Question up the back.
Lots of running going on, thank you. Could you make a few comments about the pricing side of things? I'm understanding that the core part is often free and you pay for add-ons. Is that just for the developer, or if you roll out to client sites, is there a sort of ongoing trailing charge you have to pay for maintaining updates to client sites?
That is a good question. And that's always, especially when you're doing it for clients and you're buying things like this, whether it be themes or plugins or page builders, you've got to sort of consider the costs and how you're going to roll that out, whether you're going to make them in charge of those costs going forward, or you're going to kind of wear that and maybe ongoingly charge them. With the page builders, it's one of those things, there's a whole heap of different models. With Beaver Builder, and the thing I liked about it the most was there was the option for, I think it was $199 a year, which then comes down as you renew, but it would let you use the page builder across unlimited sites. So it wasn't costing me every time I built a site. I just bought the license once and I could build 1 million sites and it would be covered. But it would be all covered under my license, so if I stopped using my license, all those copies would then kind of cease getting the license, and then the end customer would either have to buy their own license, or they would just have to be stuck with a non-licensed version. Elementor, I think, is very similar. I think you've got the different pricing methods there, where it's like a one site for X amount of dollars, and then unlimited sites for a bit more. But yeah, it's one of those things that you kind of have to make that decision as a business owner, a web developer. Do you want to be kind of doing that for your customers and maybe on charging on a yearly basis, or do you want to kind of push it off to them? And I've had that just recently where I had it wasn't so much a page builder but a plugin that I was paying the license for, and then I stopped paying the license. Well, actually the client decided to take over the license. So it was just a matter of him buying that license and putting the code in, and problem solved. Does that kind of answer your question? Okay.
Nice. Another question on the front here.
You mentioned about the copying templates across, or layouts across different, so creating one layout and then using it on other sites.
Yep.
Is that something a user can do, or is it something they then have to go to, okay, I've created this, can you please, Mr. Web Developer, create that so that I can put it in other sites?
Do you mean as the end user, or?
Yeah, so for instance, if I build a site, say I'm a resume writer or something, and I decided I want to give my clients online resumes, so I create an online resume site that I decide, oh, yep, that's cool, I want to use that for other clients. How do I then be able to use that for other clients on other sites with different domain names?
You can export those templates out and load them into the new sites. So yeah, they can be pushed across. It's not limited to that one. And I know this works in Beaver Builder. I'm pretty sure it works in Elementor. Is you can actually kind of save them out and then push them into the new sites. So you could effectively, you know, like give that template to somebody who's already got the plugin, and they can load that up. Yeah.
Any more questions?
All good.
All good.
Well, that's an early wrap up, so we can. We're not far off. Actually, 5 minutes off morning tea, and I know I'm starving.
So can you dance for 5 minutes, or what can you do for 5 minutes?
Let's see. I don't know if I've got any more slides. I think that's it. This is the question one. Yep.
Oh, well, let's thank Ricky. Very good.
Thank you.
It's very interesting to see how far the page builders have gone.
Yeah, it is. It's they've definitely come a long way, and I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see how the battle between page builders and Gutenberg goes. I've got a feeling in the end, I think Gutenberg might win out.
So the shortcode, you mentioned shortcodes. So is there only one particular one that uses that?
No, there's a few that use the shortcodes, and that's probably a legacy from a lot of the earlier page builders. But nowadays they're getting smarter, so I think a lot of them will probably change over to the different ways, maybe. But yeah, you need to sort of look into each page builder and make sure you're getting something that's going to work. And usually, if you check the forums and just Google, how the best lightweight page builders, you'll get some good answers that way.
Okay. Nice. Nice to see a little WP Elevation mentioned there as well.
Yeah, I love WP Elevation. It's I always talk about Troy and his team because they do an amazing job. So if anybody's out there who's starting out with web design and needs that extra bit of help, I can highly recommend them.